Good evening, everybody. Give me just a minute. I am going to invite some friends, and we will get started on the Sunday chapter reading from a book called I See You. It is a book by Julie Lee, and it is about how compassion and connections save lives. So last week on Sunday we read chapter 1, so here we go on to chapter 2. Whoville needs us. Every Whodown in Whoville liked Christmas a lot, but the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. At the Lee house, how the Grinch stole Christmas is big news. I was excited to share the story with my kids, but I made the mistake of exposing them too early. In my excitement, I showed Sam a clip of the Jim Carrey version, and when he was only 2 years old, he cried and refused the movie ever since. I eventually talked Sam into watching the original 1966 version with me, which he tolerated. I probably should have started with that one. In 2018, another version came out in theaters. Sam refused. But as fate would have it, he saw the film at my sister's house with the rest of his cousins while the adults were playing games. Good old peer pressure, gotta love it. Afterward, he told me with a grin, "Mom, I was so silly." I caught myself and I didn't say "I told you so" like a 6-year-old. I was happy that someone got him to watch the dang movie, and even if it wasn't me. And that's how my kids' obsession with the movie began. They told everyone about it as if it had just come out in theaters instead of 2 years ago. Rob and I appreciated the hip-hop music, the wit and the witty humor. It could have been worse. It could have been a My Little Pony obsession. Thank heavens I was spared. For Halloween, we used a lot of green and brown face painting to make Sam a convincing Grinch and Lydia his sidekick, Max the dog. Rob and I were so happy for an excuse to wear pajamas as Cindy Lou, Who, and Who Boy #1. During the months of the Grinch craze, mornings consisted of my kids dumping out their Duplos and reinventing scenes from the movie. One side of the living room became the Grinch's cave. Sam called it his cage, which he has interesting implications. And the other side became Whoville. Next, the Grinch, a designated Duplo man with black hair and glasses, flew on his rocket ship sleigh race car to steal Christmas from the Whos. He loaded up his vehicle with all the things Christmas and took it back to the cave. The storyline was flexible at this point, and it changed from time to time as it went on. Sometimes the Grinch had a change of heart and returned Christmas, and other times the monster showed up to eat all of the characters. The real plot line of How the Grinch Stole Christmas is slightly different. The Grinch is a hairy green misfit who lives in a cave. Whoville, a community that is fanatical about Christmas. The Grinch hates the Christmas culture. In a rage, he decides to steal Christmas, disguised as Santa Claus. During the heist, he meets a kind, small Who child, Cindy Lou Who is undeterred. The next morning, having arrived at the home with a sleigh full of stolen Christmas goodies, he hears something unexpected. Despite their stolen possessions, the Whos are singing together. The Grinch is baffled, and then it touched his heart, and it changed. He returns everything he stole, and even joins the Whos for their Christmas feast. The Grinch who didn't belong up in the mountains, and neither do we. We are sorely needed in Whoville. Reasons for the cave. Staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown, the warm, lighted windows below their town. One reason I like the Grinch's character so much is because I can relate to him. Like the Grinch, sometimes I want to stay up in the mountain. I'm not mad at anybody. I just want to do my own thing. I want my lavender mist, my meditation space, all in place, that I can control. In a lot of ways, the seclusion of a cave makes sense. But why did the Grinch move up to the cave in the first place? The original book doesn't give us the backstory of the Grinch's life, but one movie version does. In the Jim Carrey adaptation, the Grinch experiences flashbacks from his troubled past. In his memories, he is mocked and humiliated, making him self-conscious about his appearance. One reason people do isolate themselves from a group, community, or even family is because of negative experiences they have had in the past. They may feel hurt by something that happened or make assumptions about the way people feel about them. Whether their interpretations are accurate or false, it really doesn't matter. Our mind is our reality. Like the Grinch, I have gotten burned before. I have had my heart broken by someone I should have been able to trust, and I understand the pull of a cave where no one can hurt you again. In high school, I was an outgoing girl. I did the student council thing. I had friends of all sorts in different groups, but still, there were groups I didn't try to breach because I thought I wouldn't be liked and afraid of humiliating myself. Some of that might have been true. There are mean people out there. They do exist. In the Jim Carrey How the Grinch Stole Christmas, there are children who are literally and legitimately mean to the young Grinch. In my mind, he partly leaves Whoville to avoid being hurt again. By self-protecting, he disconnects. But the problem is he never comes back down, and his feelings fester over time. Sometimes we isolate when we have been mistreated or we feel self-conscious. We hole up in a proverbial cave. We might check social media and think we know what's going on. Whoville, just like the Grinch, could hear Christmas music, but that's not really connection. It's possible to be in a room full of people and feel completely alone. There is a way to be in a cave mentally and emotionally and physically reside in Whoville. Remember, hell is not a place. It's a state of mind. Excuse me, I have to get a drink real quick. Finding quiet. Oh, the noise, oh, the noise. Noise, 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 noise. That's one thing he hated. Noise, 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 noise. I feel you, Grinch. As we try to see others, something we all need is quiet time for ourselves. As our environment gets louder, our minds can become overactive. It's difficult to calm my mind down unless my surroundings are quiet too. But even when it's loud sometimes, I don't want to abandon Whoville. I'm not living in my Who house alone. One of the hardest things for me about getting married and becoming a parent was not being able to control my space. Having scattered toys and an unmade bed drives me up the wall. I have an outward processor for a husband and 2 very loud children, lots of noise happening in this corner of Whoville. When everything feels too loud, a cave by myself where I can control everything sounds pretty nice. But I have learned that I don't thrive in caves, or holes for that matter. I would rather have noise to handle than cold silence of depression. Depression follows isolation like a cat. You made the mistake of feeding. No, I will never move to a cave to escape the noise. I will take a break instead. People ask me, how do you keep your house so tidy? I find a way because it's a survival tactic. When my physical environment is chaotic, my mind is chaotic. It's a bad combination. In my corner of Whoville, I get a say. I keep an orderly house because it increases my quality of life, my ability to thrive, and my capacity to help others. In my house, I have a tub to soak in, peppermint oil to rub on my temples, and countless books I want to read. I have fuzzy blankets and good food to eat. I love my setup in Whoville because I have made a place where I can find quiet. I have learned to take intentional breaks every day. I have learned to find stillness. Finding quiet is essential if we want to invite others into our lives. I love inviting my fellow Whos into the house. I love singing songs with them and celebrating our lives together. I don't invite everybody into my home, but most people I do. We never feel alone in Whoville. How the heart grows. Well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's heart is small. Grew 3 times that day. What made our green friend change? First, Cindy Lou Who made an impression on him. He created a connection with another human being. Not by looking at Cindy Lou via her Instagram account at Christmas or Burst. He met her face to face. It's hard to hate someone close up. When we don't like someone, if we move closer, we usually find that our compassion increases. Compassion inspires change. Second, the Grinch realizes that the Whos were not who he thought they were. His negative experience as a kid had simmered for so long, which he only exaggerated his hatred toward the Whos. In his mind, they were shallow and only cared about things. When the Grinch heard the Whos singing Christmas that morning, he realized that he had underestimated them. Sometimes we really are wrong about people. Sometimes people do change. The Whos who were previously mean to the Grinch changed. Their examples inspired the Grinch to change as well. And our Whoville is made up of all sorts of crazy people, including you and me. We all have baggage, we all have quirks, and we are all needed in Whoville. We can't engage with other people if we are holed up in a cave on the mountain, looking at everyone's life through a screen of never-ending social media posts. We are no help to anyone from way up there. If you're camped up in the mountains, it's time to come down. Build a fence, build soundproof walls. That's perfectly fine. But we need you down in Whoville, where no one ever needs to feel alone. The bottom line, seeing peoples means engaging with them in close emotional proximity, while distancing ourselves may feel safe. Our happiness grows when we intentionally connect with others. So that was chapter 2 from I See You. Let me get my bookmark because it fell. This is a book about how connections and compassion really does save lives. And COVID has had us, guys, we've been locked up for a while. And I do believe how important connection is. I crave talking to friends, talking to family, seeing people, having lunch with somebody. It's important that we start engaging at that level again because connections is what can save humanity. And I do truly believe that. So, that was my Sunday book reading. I do hope you all enjoy it, and I will be back next Sunday to read chapter 3. Thank you for everybody who joined. If you so care, please, if you join later, please put #replay. If you have any comments about the book or any questions, please ask them here. I am happy to engage in them. Shine this video with the button down here at the bottom if you think anybody else would love to hear these. All right? Thank you guys so much. And as always, my friends, please stay happy, healthy, and safe until I see you again. Mwah.